Hey, this is Bob Flaherty, the electric principal, and I'm just giving you a brief update today on ID.4 production, car production in general for VW right in the middle of January. And so to start out, most of you already know that VW has officially stopped accepting orders on the order platform as of January 4th. Now, our little dealership has 80 cars still coming in. That's because people who live in Fort Collins are awesome and love electric cars, and they ordered a heck of a lot of them. And so we've still got a slew of cars to get done, but I know that there'll be cars becoming available to the open market, just like we've had in the past with other cars, where you're going to see a car show up that isn't necessarily claimed, and that could literally start happening in the next 3 or 4 months, where the cars coming in are not necessarily all ordered. Also, if you find a 22 hanging around a lot somewhere, you could consider purchasing that because VW right now has a really good deal where they're going to drop $7,500 off the price of that car if you lease it. And in the past, I wasn't such a fan of leasing because I thought the residual rate was pretty low. But right now, with the volatility in the market, look carefully at that. That might work for you, especially if you want a color that's kind of hard to get, like dust blue. You can't buy a dust blue ID.4 anymore. They're just not making them. So consider that. And if you love cup holders, consider it, because those 22s are full of cup holders. And the other thing that's good about those cars is they've been produced for a couple of years, and the parts supply has all been worked out, and they're coming in as pretty solid cars right now. So think about that. Now, if I were in your shoes, what I'd do is I'd look at a 23, I'd look at what a lease rate would look like, I'd look what a purchase rate looks like, because if you buy one of those before March, you're going to get the $7,500 tax credit from the federal government. As long as your individual income adjusted gross is below 150, or if you and your partner are filing a joint tax return under 300,000, you may very well qualify for that, and that's a good deal. So take a look at those things, think it through carefully before you make a decision. We sold a slew of ID.4s last month out the door. We had almost 20 cars in our dealership go out the door. It was a busy month. And right now things have slowed down. We've got about 8 cars coming in at the end of January. Now, of course, they're all gray, they're all black, and they're all red, and I'm sure the same is true for your dealership. Those are the cars that are priority. I mean, people ordered a lot of gray cars. So VW is making a lot of gray cars. Also, you're going to see middle of February, beginning of March, you're going to see some Pro Pluses coming in. I didn't expect that we would get so many all-wheel drive Pros coming in. Those originally were slated to come in much later, and all of a sudden our dealership ended up with 7 or 8 of them out of the blue. We didn't really expect them. Pro Pluses, late January, you can start to expect those to come in, probably more likely in February and March. Those will start to move in. Overall, the last two weeks, VW hasn't produced a lot of cars, folks. Right before Christmas, you saw production drop. We're back up to 600 or so cars that we're making in terms of ID.4 in the United States. European production has been down to almost nothing. But they're busy producing buzzes, I'm sure. And we don't get the official notification of how many of those have been produced. So right now, thanks for your patience. I know some of you have waited a long time to get your ID.4. I think they're worth the wait. They're super comfortable cars, super quiet cars. There are more competitors out there these days, but I really think if you take a careful look at the VW and the build quality, you'll continue to go towards VW. I know that Tesla has really disrupted the market by dropping the price like 20% on a couple of their cars. They're all doing that so we get the tax credit, but you're going to get the tax credit with a VW anyway. We never had to drop our prices to get those tax credits because our vehicles qualified anyway. And so make sure that you take a careful look at what you've ordered. Make sure that that's going to work for you. And then I'll put out another report probably early March to tell you how things are going, what cars have come in. and what's happening in VW, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have a few cars pop up out of nowhere that aren't claimed, and so you can maybe talk to your dealer. If you're waiting for a white car, you know, you might want to consider talking to your dealer about, hey, if there's any gray, red, or black that come, if you would be willing to do that, they may have one available. And I would tell you, you know, keep in contact with your dealer, talk to your salesperson, and make sure that they know what your desires are. I have a number of customers who are really good about that, and it just makes it easier to find a car to fulfill their order earlier than waiting for their car necessarily to be finished. Once again, you know, hopefully your dealer is not charging above MSRP. Hopefully you're able to get a car at a reasonable price, and it's a car that's going to work for you for years to come. So once again, this is Principal Bob, the electric principal, coming to you from Ed Carroll VW. I want to tell those folks that have contacted me, I really appreciate your questions. I've had a lot of good questions from people. I had a gentleman who called me up from Superior, Wisconsin, and his concern was, you know, will the ID.4 work for me? And it was a really, really good question, because when you're going to order a particular car for yourself, you got to look at your location. Location is everything. If you live in the middle of an electric desert, where there aren't a lot of CCS chargers, it makes it difficult to buy a car like a VW that uses that particular charger. You know, if you live in really cold climates, just recognize that electric cars aren't going to be as efficient as when it's cold out. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because it just is the case. They're just not quite as efficient. So thanks again. Once again, I hope you have a good month. We'll see you soon.